Good evening,
President,
Shrikant.
Shrikant.
Hi, Shrikant.
Hello.
Hi, Shrikant.
Hi.
It's me who said hi.
Yes, I can see.
Hi.
Oh, who's Shushila? Who's that?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah,
Narayan.
no, Shushila.
Sushila, then Narayan is there.
Yes,
Yeah.
hi.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi.
Shushila.
Silent movie, suddenly.
What's happening? It's not starting.
Suddenly silent movie.
7:35.
I think Samir
7:31.
has gone to connect the YouTube. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's
back.
There is.
Back.
Coloring. Now it is 7:30, is it?
7:31.
Get on
Releasing Janaganamana.
We don't know who's
I
attending.
request all of you to stand for a moment of silence. And please pray even for this week. We have Balit lost his mother in this week. And so we should pray for her soul. 1 minute of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. Please put all your phones on silent mode. I have to do that first. We will now request Scott, could you come this one to the stage? Please welcome him. Please. Thank you. And I think we have guests. I think we have all our training candidates. You all are the ones who just graduated, right? Welcome to today's program, and I think today's program should be of good use to you. Welcome to all the Rotarians who are coming in spite of the rain, and welcome to all the Rotarians sitting at home. This month is the Economic and Community Development Program, and I think a lot of programs will be happening in the club. Starting with last Saturday, the exhibition that we have had was a good success. 20 stalls, over 300 visitors, and a good amount of transaction happening there. The next day, Sunday, we gave the microcredit loans for 5 seminars to the extent of 10 lakhs, a good useful visit, and we hope that it helps in the local community development there. Today, we had an interesting project in the morning. I think that's very interesting because 2 different projects from 2 different committees combined together for a win for everybody. I think the school children wanted uniforms, and all of you stitched the uniforms for them, put your skills to good use, and we hope that's a good beginning for all of you, and you go a lot of distance in getting more orders and more success to all of you. We also had a lot of wellness programs, 2 wellness programs, and a blood donation camp at MOOC. Some of the activity which has kept the club busy in the last 1 week, and I think in the coming week, all of us are in a celebration mode with Diwali around the corner. Now I would like to call Prashant for his announcements.
Good evening, everybody. So thanks for some of us coming in. Hello to everybody on Zoom. Camera is looking somewhere else anyway. Birthdays for this week, October 23rd is Rotarian Vimla Pinto's birthday, when she celebrates her birthday with Sunil Bharti Mittal and also Malaika Arora. Yeah, And October 24th is spouse Shanti Sami celebrates her birthday. And she celebrates her birthday with one of our, for the sake of honor awardees, the one and only R.K. Lakshman. So all the best to happy birthday to Vimla and Shanti. Wedding anniversary is October 23rd is Rotarian S. Venkatesh and Kavita Venkatesh. Wishing them a very wonderful year together. Meetings, the TRF and International Services will meet on Friday, 21st October at 7:30 p.m. It's hosted by Rotarian Ravi Kumar and spouse Uma. Presently, it is at the residence, but it's subject to change. They will inform us. Vocational Committee is meeting on Saturday, 22nd October at 7 p.m. at the tennis hall of the Century Club. The meet is hosted by Rotarian Suri and spouse Sundari. And for the meetings, I personally request all members of the committees to kindly be there 10 minutes prior to the start of the meeting at the respective venues, so we can start on time and complete on time. Thank you so much. I would now like to introduce Kavita Mansur on the interesting subject, and I'm sure she will give a lot more inputs.
Thank you, President Samir. Honored to introduce our speaker for today. This does not happen very often because most of the time our programs are curated. We seek good speakers from different industries and with different relevance to our Rotarians. But for the first time, we received a mail to our club by Ms. Kavita Mansur. And the content mail in brief said, are you aware of sustainability in fashion, in the fashion industry? So that was actually quite an awakening. We thought we think about sustainability as so many things. Fashion and textile, which includes textile, one of the most polluting industries that we come across. And we said, of course, this is something that we can we have not discussed, and we are very, very open to it. So first of all, I'd like to thank Ms. Kavita for reaching out to us, and it's an absolute honor to have you as our speaker for the day. So to briefly introduce Ms. Kavita, after having worked in the fashion industry as a designer and merchandiser, Kavita Mansur was quick to realize her passion for teaching. For the past 20 years, she has taught at multiple fashion colleges like AFD Training College, Garden City College, Wigan College, Nadi Institute of Fashion Technology, and WNCI, with their different capacities from lecturer to HOD and center head. She is a qualified sustainable fashion educator. It's an extremely novel location that I will come across, and I'm pretty sure it will be very similar to most of our Rotarians. She is founder and advocate of Act Responsible Fashioner. So that's her handle. And she's also ambassador for Re-Make World for the last 1 year. So Re-Make World. So she is also the ambassador for that for the last 1 year. Her mission is to bring awareness among every fashion consumer regarding bad practices and impact of fast fashion on the planet, and popularize and bring the pride of the responsible fashioners. So, a wonderful topic for the day. We also have our just freshly graduates from our tailoring program with us, and I think it's much like to Ms. Kavita about the fashion trends and what is most sustainable. Sustainable means not that world is going to be the best for the next 10 to 20 years. So, with that, I'd like to welcome Ms. Kavita to speak. Thank you.
Yes. Uh, Good evening, President, Secretary, Rotary members, and the young members who are present today. Glad and honored to be here among, yeah, not audible? Yeah, I'm glad and honored to be among all of you to address about a topic which is very close to my heart. And in fact, that has become my mission of my life after working for many years in the fashion industry. I'm not a very good speaker or an orator, but I can assure you that I speak from my heart. So at times, when I touch certain sensitive topics, I become very emotional and I may choke also. So I'm just cautioning you, you will have to excuse me for that. Without wasting much time, let me start straight away with, we as Indians have been taught from our childhood not to waste food. Food is very important. It's next to God. Take as much as you want. Don't throw food, right? This is what we have been taught. And this is what we have even teaching our children, right? For various reasons. It's very important. There are so many people who are deprived of it. The farmer, puts in so much of hard effort, so we cannot disrespect him, his efforts, the food. In the last 1+ decade, the latest trend in food is what? Organic food? Yeah, we've all gradually moved towards organic food. For reasons like, it's good for us, it's good for our health, because there are no chemicals added to it, right? That's one of the reasons. The other reason is farmer who's growing it, is not exposed to the chemicals and the pesticides. So he's also safe in a way. The third way for us to go for organic food is it's good for the environment, right? Because the pesticides and the chemicals don't enter the soil. So the fertility of the soil is maintained for a longer time. And our water bodies, oceans and rivers don't get contaminated by the chemicals which are used in the food production. So we're all happy. It's a win-win situation for our health, for the farmer, for the environment, right? So everybody is gradually, in the last 10 years or plus, has been gradually turning towards organic food. The time has come now where we practice similar kind of thoughts and practices as far as clothes are concerned. We need to turn towards sustainable clothing, sustainable fashion. I will show you some of the slides now without speaking a single word. Just have a look. Can we have the slides? Yeah. With a 10 seconds gap, you can keep running through the slides. Pictures were quite disturbing, right? Most of us were not aware that child labor is used in garment factories in the production of clothes. It's very much in use. The pesticides which the farmers spray is completely, they're completely exposed to it. The working conditions in which our garment workers work are pathetic. They don't get enough breaks in between. There is no enough space for them. No good air for them to breathe. The chemical dyes are done with a bare hand by our workers. So these are some of the, what I call it as the ugly truth of the glamorous fashion field. When we think about fashion, we always think about the brands, the fashion shows, the models, the the good-looking things, the movie stars, right? Wrong. This is the truth about the backstage of the glamorous fashion world that we should be aware of. What goes behind making people look good is actually very, very ugly. This is my mission, to show these kind of pictures and bring awareness among everybody. Can we have the next slide, please? Yeah, now let me tell you about some of the hard-hitting facts. After the pictures, now let us see the facts. The fashion industry is the second largest consumer industry of water. To grow 1 kg of cotton, 10,000 liters of water is consumed. To prepare 1 cotton shirt, 3,000 liters of water or 700 gallons of water is utilized. 1 cotton t-shirt needs 2,700 liters of water, and 1 jeans, 2,000 gallons of water is utilized. So all of us have multiple t-shirts, multiple shirts, multiple pair of denims, right? So that much of water has been used to produce our garments. Can we have the next one? Yeah. Clothing and textile industry production releases around 1.2 billion tons of greenhouse gases every year. And it is more than the combined emissions of all international flights and shipping. These are the facts. Next one. Textile dyeing requires toxic chemicals that subsequently end up in our oceans. Textile dyeing is the world's second largest polluter of water, since the water left over from the dyeing process is often dumped into ditches, streams, or rivers. Next one. In 2013, in Bangladesh, there was the Rana Plaza accident happened, where a building where the garment workers were working collapsed and thousands of people died. Nobody is aware of it. So many people were injured. Next one. This is the site of the building collapsing. This is very shocking. 1 garbage truck of clothing and textile is sent to landfill, or it is burned every second. 1 truck full of clothes are burnt, or they're sent to the landfill because of the overproduction and overconsumption by us. Globally, an estimated 92 million tons of textile waste is created each year. These are the hard-hitting facts that none of us are aware of. If we slightly go back to 30 years or 40 years back to our childhood, what our moms and grandparents did, they somehow knew the technique of upcycling, reusing, passing on the things to the next generations. I have worn the clothes which are passed on to me by my sister. It was a natural concept. And I was told, use it carefully so that you will pass it on to your cousins, since I was the youngest in the family. There were no diapers then. The diapers were stitched by thin cotton malmal saris. The diapers were stitched out of that. That was the recycling and upcycling techniques that they knew. Upholstery in the homes was stitched by the old saris or by the old curtains. They stitched the table mats, table runners from the leftover fabrics. These were the techniques which were used then. These days, we don't follow any one of it. A small stitch is gone or a small button has come off. We have no time, no patience to stitch them back. We throw them, go and buy a new stuff. This is the reason for all the pictures and the photos and the hard-hitting facts that we are facing today. Can we have the next slide? Okay, when I say this, Mahatma Gandhi, the first sustainable fashion icon, many people laugh at me. How do you relate? We all know that Mahatma Gandhi was the most sustainable person, but how do you say that he was the sustainable fashion icon? I have very strong reasons to say this. Gandhi and his profound relationship with clothes definitely qualifies him to be the first Indian sustainable fashion. His principles of simplicity, his principles of ahimsa, his principles of Swadeshi movement, and his principle of not accepting the mass production and to encourage the local production definitely qualifies him to be the sustainable fashion icon. So let's see how simple he was. His clothing was the most simplest way. His dhoti was woven with his philosophy of ahimsa and the non-violence. So when you see ahimsa and non-violence, his ahimsa and non-violence was towards human beings, was towards animals, and was also towards his compassion towards the environment. So this is the main mantra of fashion sustainability. Say no to animal products, say no to leather and fur. So we can directly connect Mahatma Gandhi over there. His love for environment. Okay, definitely what we call it today as save the environment movements that we have, or the sustainable fashion movements that we have today are directly related to that. His simplistic way of wearing clothes, today's fashion mantra, sustainable fashion mantra is less is more. Less is more is actually a mantra of all the sustainable activities. Buy less, use what we have to the longest period, right? So he used that. And one of the strongest principles of Mahatma Gandhi was Swadeshi movement. Why did he start Swadeshi movement? To boycott the foreign products, right? And to encourage the local business, to encourage our local producers. Today also a need has come where we need to boycott the international brands. We need to encourage our own local brands, local artisans, local people, so that I'll come to that why we need to do that a little later part of it. So according to me, and some of his sayings, can we have the next slide? He said, there is no beauty in the finest cloth if it makes hunger and unhappiness. Where the hunger and unhappiness is made by the garment manufacturers. They are not paid their regular wages, what they are due to be getting. They are made to work overtime. They work 6 days a week, and even on Sundays they pay, but they work, but they are not paid. So there is no beauty in the clothes that we wear if they are not paid well. Next one. There is enough on earth for everybody's need, but not enough for everybody's greed. If you actually look into the number of clothes that we have already produced in today, even if we don't produce a single cloth for the next 5 years, the entire world can still sustain. That is the truth. But we are greedy. We want more, we want new things. Right? So now a time has come where we have to introduce ourselves to this sustainable fashion practices. These are actually very simple that each one of can incorporate in our daily lives. We need not wait for more time. These are the simple things which we can adopt and incorporate in our daily lives. So how to do that? The economy has to become circular. The fashion economy has to become circular when we are considering the garment industry, the designers, the production, the marketing and retailing and the end use of garments, okay, there has to be no wastage at all. Similarly, this is for the garment industry. The part I don't want to address to you people, because here we are looking at as consumers, you and me, what can we do? How can we be sustainable, right? So as consumers, the kind of clothes that we buy, where we buy, how we use them, and then how we discard them, there has to be a circularity between that. We have to close all the loops over there. There should not be wastage at any point of time. So I am going to stress on these things. How to buy, where to buy, what to buy, when to buy, how to use them so that the lifespan of the garments is prolonged. And when we are done with the clothes, what to do with them, not just throw them. They will end up in the landfills, which is again bad. So, the first one is what to buy. Most of us are aware of the fact that, to be sustainable, we need to buy cotton. We need to buy organic cotton. Why? Because it is biodegradable. Right? So this is a common thing that most of us know. Apart from this, there are so many things that we can incorporate in our lives. The brands that we buy, are they sustainable? Do they pay the garment workers fairly? Do they use the fair trade practices? We need to do a research on them. Every brand these days have their own websites. So little bit of research on them. Example, Fab India, completely 100% sustainable brand. Right? Good Earth, 100% sustainable. H&M, Zara, they claim themselves to be sustainable. They are greenwashing the eyes of the consumers. They are not fully sustainable. They have this habit of, compared to last year, we are reducing the usage of water by 50%. So I become a sustainable, but still they are using so much of water. So from which angle are they sustainable? So by giving false figures, they call themselves as sustainable, whereas they are not. So a thorough research is required from each consumer before we buy the products. Some of the brands have the return policies. Levi's takes return, they take back the jeans and they use it, they recycle it, and then again they sell it. So that's again a good practice. But Levi's as such is not a sustainable product because there are a lot of garment workers who are not treated well by them. So this is all what we call it as a greenwashing of the eyes. So we need to do our complete research on that. Next is where to buy our products from. The best way to buy our products is the Indian and the local brands. I'll tell you why. The cotton is produced in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and China. It is exported to UK and European countries and USA. The fabric is manufactured over there. It comes back to the same countries for the production. It is produced in our own countries. It is sent back over there for labeling and packing. And it comes back to us. 4 times carbon emission. Right? So is it sustainable? International brand. This is where the Swadeshi movement comes into existence. The latest movement, vocal for local, is what needs to be practiced by each one of us. We need to buy the products which are locally produced. There are some individual designers, there are individual manufacturers who manufacture the products at a very low cost. We need to find them and buy the products from them. So after we know where to buy it from, the latest trend in fashion field now is buying online, right? All of us sit at home, want to sit at home and buy it. Actually, when it started, it was very sustainable practice because you're not stepping out in your car, so you're saving fuel, so you're being sustainable. But you know what we do? When we want to buy one pair of clothes, we end up ordering 4 or 5 of them. We try them out on us, we return 4 out of them, retain 1. Right? All of us do that. There are lots of online returns which are happening. Why do we do that? They don't fit us, we don't like it, right? I thought I would like it, I didn't like it, so I'm sending it back. So these returns, have we ever thought what happens to these returns? 90% of these returns end up in the landfill. They go to the garbage. The manufacturer is not taking them back. He's not putting them back on the rack and selling it, reselling it. There are many reasons for him to do that. You know, these cheap products which are 300 to 500 rupees, he doesn't want to spend his money on washing it, ironing it, repacking it, right? Spending on his own transport to get it back to his factory and then again getting it back to the Amazon or the Myntra, warehouse. Or even if it is going back, it goes back to him only if it is worth, only if it is a high range product. It goes back to him. But again, it is reaching you, carbon emission, it is going back again. There's again carbon emission over there. So online returns are again, not a good thing for us. As a responsible or conscious consumer, we should, before we order online, we should find out whether we are going to like it, read the reviews before we buy. For clothes, we don't read the reviews. Whereas electronics and other things, we usually check with the reviews and then we buy it. Here, it's an impulsive buy. Oh, let me order 5 and then I'll check it out and I'll return one of the things. That's not a good practice. We need to find out the right size. We need to find out the right product. That particular brand has to be already tried. So we are sure about the size, we are sure about the quality and things like that. Read the reviews. So these are the things that we have to keep it in mind when we are buying online. Before we decide to buy, we need to ask ourselves, am I going to use it at least for 30 wears? Each garment has to be worn minimum of 30 times. Only then we will be doing justice to the manufacturing cost of it. Most of the times we wear them only occasionally and we discard them. We put them back in our closet and we don't even know it is lying over there. And after 6 months, 8 months, 1 year, we take them out. We don't even fit in that, or the style has changed, a new trend has come, right? So we want to switch on to it. We just discard them, or they're just lying over there, right? So think, am I going to wear it for the next 1 year or 5 years? Am I going to like it? If I discard, what am I going to do with it? Am I going to upcycle it? Am I going to recycle it? Will I be able to donate it? Will I be able to do mix and match and give a new look to it? No, these are the conscious thoughts that we have to give, before we even decide to buy. It may look little this thing right now, but once you start thinking in this way, it becomes a part of your life. Every time you go, you will not just look at the price, you will also look at the label on which, are they ethical? Is there a fair trade mark on it? Are they sustainable? Is there a green label on it? The small things go a long way. The conscious effort that we need to make as fashion consumers, if we want to save our world, if we want to call ourselves as the responsible consumers. So the next one is, once we know what to buy, where to buy, how to buy, next one is, how do we increase the life cycle of a particular product that we have already bought? So that's also very important. Increasing the life cycle of the product. How do we do that? Take care of it like you're a good friend. Dream of keeping and wearing it for a longer time. Read the label instructions carefully. The instructions which are given on the label, if they say reverse it and iron it, please reverse it and iron it. If they say don't do the machine wash, don't do the machine wash. That will deteriorate the life cycle of the product. If they say, reverse it and wash it, reverse it and wash it. The simple practices of reading the label carefully and washing them and drying them. Most of the clothes don't need wash every time that we wear. We can just do, turn it inside out and air dry them and they'll be ready to use it. But we have the habit of every cloth that we wear it for 2 hours, we put it in the wash. Wastage of water along with your reducing the lifespan of your product. Right? So we have to take care. Most of the products are good not to hang them on the hangers. They sag. They lose their elasticity. They need to be folded and kept. They need to be folded. Most of the products, the silk products and all that, what we do, we fold them, put them in the cotton cloth bag and we store them so that they don't lose their luster, the shine. Simple practices go a long way in increasing the lifespan of our clothes. Once we know what to buy, where to buy, how to take care of what we have, the next question is, what do we do once we are done with the clothes? How do we discard them? Where do we discard them? Every time we decide to discard, ask yourself, why am I discarding it? Am I bored with it? Am I done with it? Is it torn? Can it be donated? Now ask these questions. These questions will give you the answers what to do next. If it is torn, there are so many products in a closet. They're just lying at the back of the thing because the zipper has gone, the button has gone, the small stitch has gone. They're lying there in a cupboard for a very, very long time. We have no time to take it and get it mended. Right? So ask yourself, why are you throwing it? Ask yourself, are you bored with it? If you are bored with it, you can definitely find a new wearer for it. These days, have you heard of Postmark? It's a app where you can sell your used garments. People are selling their used garment. There are a lot of tech companies which have come out with Postmark is one, Relam. These are the new ventures which have come out, where you can actually sell your used good clothes, make money, and you can call yourself as a responsible fashioner. The new trends, these are all the new trends. So there are a lot of these swapping events are happening. We swap with our friends, we swap with our relatives. These events are being conducted. There are lots of clothes drives which happen. The Future Group does it every year through Big Bazaar, that during Diwali time, now that they have closed down, usually during Diwali time, they would take back the clothes, old clothes, and give you the gift coupons, right? So what were they doing? They were collecting it and they were sending it for recycling, they were sending it for upcycling, and they were also donating them. Right? So if you want to donate, where do you want to donate? Find out those things. There are a lot of these agencies which are ready, willing to come home and take it back from you, the clothes that you want. So these are few of the what can be done at the individual levels if we want to save our planet Earth, if we are conscious in our hearts, and if we want to become responsible fashioners. There are certain things that can be done at the community level also. What you are doing, bringing awareness through me about sustainable fashion. Right? So excellent thing to do. Participate in the swap events. Go and attend the exhibitions by the artisans. Buy it directly from them so that there are no middlemen. You are also giving encouragement to them. You are giving them their livelihood. At community level, you can even conduct mended events in your own apartment. Conduct the clothes drive and donate it. One person takes an initiative and does a clothes drive once in 3 months. A truck full of clothes can be collected in an apartment of 300 people have done it, and send it to the slums, and there are so many agencies which take. People were happy to come and donate. They were saying that it was lying in my closets. I didn't know what to do it. Thank you so much for conducting the clothes drive. So these are the things which can be done at community levels, bringing awareness about fashion. So a time has come when each one of us take the responsibility and think about how to be a sustainable fashion. It doesn't mean that I want to be a sustainable consumer. So whatever many people have done that. After I speak to them, they call back and tell me that, after you spoke, we went home, we took out all our synthetic sarees and I threw them. I said, please don't do that. You're not supposed to throw anything. If you already have bought anything synthetic, please keep it with you and use it as long as it can be used. The only promise that you can make to yourself is that you will not buy in future the synthetic ones. Your future buys have to be the sustainable ones. If you already have something which you have bought, don't discard them. Use it and see to it that its lifespan is again extended so that it doesn't go to the landfill at the earliest. So today all of us can go back, have a look at what is there in our closets, what needs mending, how each one of us are going to contribute towards becoming a sustainable fashion consumer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, please, you can come here and we'll ask them questions. Only one.
So my 92 million goes to landfill. How long does cotton textile take to degrade? 5 years. Okay, it is completely. So poly mixed will take some time. My suggestion, point is, if there's an opportunity, take the landfill clothes, size them up, heat them in conveying, and use it as packing material for industry. Yeah, but I don't have for example, if there's a source and that's publicized, we can consume those.
Regarding that. Yeah, there is not awareness about these practices. There are a lot of these companies and new inventions which are happening in the garment industry, where the difficult part over here is when we are recycling, we have to shred the fibers, right? So if it is a mixed fiber, it becomes difficult to shred it and separate it. If it is a pure fabric, we know what to do, how to use it. If it's only polyester, we know how to convert it and recycle it. If it's a mix of polyester and cotton, the fiber cannot be separated from each other, right? So that becomes, so go for the pure fabrics in the future, for when we are buying.
So I'm talking about the 92 million tons that are in the landfill. If that is, appropriately cut and clean.
Appropriately cut, clean, yes.
It can be packing material for someone like, me who can consume it.
Yes. Why only in packing? Good clothes can be designed out of it. There are designers who pick up the waste fabrics from the tailors. They use that and make handbags, make jackets, make dupattas. So we should, what has gone, but I don't think anybody would, go pick up the racks and then convert it something which is wearable. But it can definitely be made into the mats and the rugs. Mats and the rugs are made out of that.
Okay.
The kitchen cloth that we use, the colorful round ones, it's made out of the waste fabric.
So I'm talking about industrial packing. So if you have some ideas of
Industrial packing.
yeah, industrial.
Can be used for stuffing and things like that. It can be used. Yes.
So,
Instead of using the bubble wrappers and the thermocol, the fabric can be used for that.
yeah. So let me know.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
What was going on? Speak about this experience.
Yes.
Because my daughter is.
Getting opportunity, please invite me any school,
Yeah, of course, I am saying.
apartment.
Because we, like, we told her that my daughter is, for example, I think at that age,
Yes.
girls.
That's what I said in the beginning, that we teach our children about that, but not about the food, but not this.
Exactly.
It has to be taught to them.
In schools, I think that would be excellent.
Yes. So in colleges,
We also send parents a lot of money.
and even in the colleges, because the college kids are the ones who buy this 150 rupees t-shirt, 199 rupees t-shirt, which are absolutely not sustainable at all. If you are buying it for 199 rupees, just think what is the amount that the worker wages that person is getting.
And the second one is for by date now, is the students. How do you suggest how they can?
You can be sustainable when you are cutting your garments. See to it that there is less of wastage of fabric. You pattern layout ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ paper cutting ನ fabric ಮೇಲೆ ಇಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು arrange ಮಾಡುವಾಗ you have to arrange it in such a way that fabric wastage is less. ಚಿಕ್ಕ piece ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅದರಿಂದ, cannot be used at all. Whereas if a slightly bigger piece remains in the site, that can be converted into something else. So that as designers, as tailors, you can take care of that. And you stick. The other thing is, if the pieces are left, you can think of creating something, a purse, a bag, a pouch. For example, I have a small pouch which has been created by the leftover fabric. So ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು side business left out of your own kitchen. So ಈ ತರ I'm sure you stitching ಮಾಡುವಾಗ fabrics ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಿಕ್ಕಿರುತ್ತೆ. So table runners, table mats you can create and you can sell it also in the exhibitions. You can make the small coasters. ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ವಾಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು small coaster, tea coasters, round and square, right? Table runners ಮಾಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸೆಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. They will be very happy if it is recycled and sold to them. Yeah, reduce, reuse, recycle, rent it, rethink, research. There are so many hours of sustainable fashion.
आप लोग पूछना चाहते हैं तो चलिए बैठिए.
I would actually create a very
Really technology based.
So I just had a couple of questions.
Yeah. Yes. Their livelihoods are.
So that's the related question is, there are a lot of corrections happening in the demand side. Let's say, for example, a brand you're working on projects. Is it volumes are being from a factory or outlet in Bangladesh or something like that? So they would do the reasons and
Narcissism is
Yes. So when we talk about sustainable fashion, it doesn't mean that we are telling them, don't buy at all the international brands. We are actually, I'm an ambassador of Remake. So here at Remake, what we are doing is we are putting pressure on these brands to develop sustainable practices in their production. We know once we stop buying from these brands, it is first people who get affected are the industry people, who are the lakhs of people, not just thousands, lakhs of people who are dependent, whose livelihood is dependent on them. So we are also working from the other side of it, where we are putting pressure on these brands. H&M and Zara, they have all signed these accord plans, which are government initiated, to be sustainable at every practice. So the brands which have not actually signed, we are putting a pressure on them through the government to sign and become sustainable. So we know that completely it cannot be shut down. The production in these countries cannot be shut down. But we have to bring pressure on them to become sustainable, 100% sustainable, these brands and the factories.
There's a factory, the design of fashion, they will say that it stop.
We burn it off. Yes. Very bad. So they claim that, that's what we call it as, greenwashing from the eyes. They claim themselves as sustainable, but they're not sustainable at all. They're supposed to be taking back the garments, which they don't take also. As per their policy, they have to take back the garments. We have to return back the garments to them because they want to burn it, in fact. So that's why, we have to do our own research and about every brand, about every manufacturer before we buy a single product. Not many of us are aware of it, actually.
Must compliment you on out of the ordinary, your approach to what you have given us. A lot of food for thought. But just a simple question is, now our country is so full of poor people who don't have any clothes to wear and, so much of slums. But why haven't we evolved a process where we can use these clothes to see that all these people get enough and more of it?
It has to be done at an individual level and at a community level. It has to be done at a community level. We can't expect, everything to be done by the laws and the governments and things like that. That's why there aren't, clothes drives which are happening very frequently. Where clothes are collected, by apartment people, and they go and we do it. We conscious people, we do it. That's why I said at community level, each one of you can take the responsibility and conduct the clothes drives.
We must get the clothes. We like, for instance, you're saying that all these manufacturers throw away so much, send it to the landfill.
They'll send it to the landfill, or they even sell it at the thrift shops. There are a lot of these thrift shops also which are coming up, the second-hand shops. So they sell it over there.
But there still could be a lot of
things have to be done in the fashion industry.
It's a question from our online audience.
Okay.
So one of our members has asked that she's given an example that can the tailors be trained to use less material
today, if you take, for example, a blouse, they don't know how to make a blouse of less than 1 meter of cloth, and there is a lot of wastage which happens. So is there a source that we can point them to for learning to be more optimal in their designs?
Yes. Actually, it's not just for blouse. If you go and learn it in fashion institutes, right? There is a topic called fabric consumption, right? So there they teach you how to reduce the consumption of the fabric for each of the pattern. So before actually it is cut on the fabric, it is laid, fabric is, the patterns are laid out on paper and then seen, different ways, and then they check, in which layout the fabric consumption is less. And then that becomes the final layout and the fabric consumption. Actually, it is done for every product. In the garment industry, they do that because they don't want to waste the fabric for their own profit. Not that they are bothered about the environment or the wastage of the fabric, but they don't want to waste their fabric, which is so expensive. So this can be done, and this is being done at the industry level, and even the tailors also do that actually. It is taught to them in the scientific way how to reduce the consumption of the fabric at the time of pattern making.
We have read some very implemented basic such techniques that we can also
That's a different topic altogether. Yes, definitely we can take it forward. Yeah, definitely.
One more question from our online audience.
Yes.
So cotton as a fabric is not conducive for sports and high performance activities.
Yeah.
Is there an alternate fabric that you can suggest?
Not actually. Cotton cannot be replaced by anything. Cotton is the fabric which is the most sustainable, but now they say that cotton is actually not sustainable. Organic cotton is more sustainable, but cotton cannot be replaced by any other fiber or the fabric.
You say if it is not cotton, using
As long as.
Yeah, I think it is done. Okay, I have a question for you. Using this mic.
Yes.
Since we spoke about cutting of cloth, so obviously a manufacturer, large scale manufacturer, optimizes cloth usage because the manufacturing is seeing fabric into thousands of pieces. So there's definitely more optimization of cloth. So would you say that it is good that we have natural depth of even units across and people going to ready-mates, or ready-mates are not the way forward for your sustainable this one?
Ready-mates are not the way forward.
Yes, I'm asking you with respect to this point.
Yes, ready-mates are definitely not the ready-mates could be, but not the mass production. Mass production is definitely not the way forward. It has to be controlled because the minute it is mass produced, the consumption increases, the cost is reduced and the consumption increases. We have to find a way to reduce our consumption.
we must reduce consumption.
Yes.
The second
It has to be done, it has to be produced in the factories, but the consumption has to be reduced.
So we should not change. It's not totally different. Second thing is this, that now we are all going against plastics, and I'm finding a lot of these cloth bags coming, and you find big baskets. Every day they're making tons of the bags.
They're making thousands of bags every day, and most of the bags are being recycled because by the time they reach you, the handles break.
The handles break.
Yes, okay, there's no way they can be recycled, and only you just throw them. And I'm not very sure what fabric it is. They definitely cannot be cotton because of the price what they give. It definitely cannot be cotton. Right? So what impact? Yeah. So what impact is that having on the environment now? And are we? Is the
Part of the landfill actually.
So what will be the solution for those bags now? Carry bags. These bags, the garment bags are also not the solution because of the reasons.
Carry your own bag, carry your own cloth bag that I'm carrying right now. Even my laptop comes in my fairly kind of a cotton bag. You carry your own bags, carry your own baskets. My
Great.
water bottle is also sustainable. I don't use the plastic water bottle.
Excellent. I also want to tell the audience here, I think our club is not doing, but Indianagar club has a very good model for recycling clothes. Every month they take clothes from the members, good clothes, they wash them like what you said, dry clean them, and then put them in show for the nearby slum areas. Every resident of the slum is given one token. Somebody can't come and monopolize it, corporatize it. They're allowed to come and buy a garment, and this runs on a monthly basis. I think this falls into this one of community doing that, and I hope that I think I think we are sitting here, so that's why I'm telling Shabir, I think let us plan this. I think what she said and what we are planning, I think let's plan to do this and our contributing society, even more inspired by what she has told us today.
Donations can happen. Among yourselves, you can do the swap event. Get the clothes that you have, exchange among yourselves. You are bored with it, so you will find something new.
Okay. Thank you. And chocolate. Thank you. Thank you. Now, may I call upon, I think Madhu is giving the vote of thanks, right? Please, Madhu, come.
So, Kavita Mansoor, this very elegant lady has very eloquently and articulated what we need to know about our, something that we take for granted. And especially as a woman, I know I am guilty in the past of purchasing one-use garments. But yes, in the past 10 years or so, I have become far more sustainable. Of course, in our communities, it isn't very, especially in India, it's not very difficult to be donating your clothes regularly because we have, we live in apartments where there are a lot of people who will wear our clothes once we are done with them. So that is definitely not a problem. But yes, in our own small ways, for instance, in the kitchen, for counter wipes, we use old cloths instead of buying new kitchen cloths. And in many other ways, we do try to be as sustainable as possible. But yes, you have also told us some very new and interesting things about the fashion industry and about everything in general, about the clothing business, which we, I think, are inspired through her words to take it forward in our small ways in our lives. So thank you very much for coming here today and sharing all this. And I hope we can collaborate later also in future, such talks for other audiences as well, or wider audiences. Today, unfortunately, we have a very small audience, but yes, the message is there loud and clear. Thank you, Kavita. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we look forward to receiving much more. And I will much so that other platforms in Rotary, I'm sure this message must spread more. And the more we speak, the more people we need, the more change we can bring it.
Each one of us who is here can make 10% of difference in our buying and using and discarding the techniques or the methods. I'll be more than happy.
Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you so much for having us.